It's Sunday night, and once again, time to take a look at the week past and the week to come. And this week, I'm looking a little bit more harried and a little bit more informal than usual. And it's been quite a week. The university finished its 10-year reaccreditation uh, visit from the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. And the reason I bring that up is not only was it a great effort on the part of everybody at the university, and a lot of work and a lot of effort went into it, but that it is actually a very a process that's very similar to the Baldrige process. In fact, accreditation these days has moved a lot in the ways of the Baldrige principles. It's a self-examination process. It's more an examination of what have you done, what have you learned, what are you constantly learning, and what are you doing with what you learned? How are you measuring your own results? How are you meeting the needs of your students? Much the same as Baldrige would ask, how are you meeting the needs of your customers? So it's been a very intense and very interesting process, and literally it's been very important, and it fit right into where we are in our discussions about quality and quality systems. It kind of merged the idea of a learning organization with where we're going, and that was a very, very important thing, but it was really time consuming. So I apologize for getting the grades done a little a little later than I thought I would, but I'll try to keep up again this week. The other thing too is, like I said, I'll have to get my personal note in here. As I've mentioned on several occasions, I also coach at the university, and due to the terrible winter we've had here, trying to get spring sports done is crazy. And we ended up having, I coach tennis, and we ended up having 4 matches in 5 days with a couple of road trips thrown in, so it's been busy. But I think it was an interesting week. Last week, the discussions, as usual, are going very well, and we looked at the two concepts that I think are extremely important. In no particular order, the idea of a learning organization. Do you work for a learning organization? Do you feel you're part of a learning organization? How does learning affect you, and how are you engaging in learning? How is your organization using the process? Do you feel that your views on learning have changed? I thought the video from Sir Ken Robinson was one of the most powerful ones I've seen in a long time. It certainly focuses more that we need to understand on how people learn and what to do and how to foster that, both in our schools, in our businesses, and yes, even personally. How do we use that to better ourselves and to better everything that we're trying to do? Another issue that we came up with that I feel extremely strongly about is the whole idea of valuing our employees. You know, I think if an organization doesn't value its employees, it shows. And not only does it show in how employees are treated, it shows in the results that the business has. Whether well results in the quality of the products and services, the quality of the care of the customers. I just think that that is one of the most important concepts that's there, and that we really, really want to emphasize what Baldrige has to say about valuing your customers. I think it was a great time for us to really sit back and consider what we've experienced in our careers and what we hope to experience in our careers, and maybe things that we can do as we move forward. Okay, where are we going this week? Well, we're going to move into sort of a not a catch-all, a building process again. And we're going to move into a phrase in Baldrige that captures many different aspects. But we're going to look at the whole idea of operations focus. Now, what does that mean? We talk about management by fact. Well, here now we're going to tie in the concepts of measurements. We're going to talk about listening to your internal and external customers. We're going to talk about social responsibility. Social responsibility, a lot of people think of that as just, uh, pardon me for not having a better phrase, do-gooder type stuff, community service. But what is social responsibility? Can social responsibility help a business grow, prosper, and provide better quality? I think it can, but I think it's very important for us to look at the context of societal responsibility, as Baldrige calls it, in the context of quality. It's a very important point. Many companies practice it and have done very well. Many companies don't. And you'll know them just like other things in this whole process. You'll know it when you see it. I was reading some other work in another situation about corporate social responsibility this week. And as I just said, it's more than ethics and doing the right thing. It's understanding how this can benefit for you. And it's looking for, to use an often used phrase, win-win situations. It's doing well by doing good. And I think there's a greater appreciation of this concept in business now than there was even 4 or 5 years ago. And certainly with the scandals of the past 10 or 15 years, and I'm talking about things such as Enron and WorldCom and the Bernie Madoff scandals, Martha Stewart, and those kind of things. I think we're seeing more and more people moving in that direction, not only ethical behavior, but then taking the next step of being a good corporate citizen. And that doesn't just mean giving back, to use another popular phrase. It means doing the right things and making sure that they tie into advancing your business. So those are the concepts we see this week. Once again, almost feel like apologizing. It's another 2 discussion board week, but it's going to, I think, allow us to use the 2 concepts and to build on each one as you move through and get ready for the end of the course. I've also included a video from one of my colleagues, an interview I did with Professor Chris Springle, who's got some ideas on operations management. That's the emphasis this week, though, is looking at things from an operations focus, how things fit together, how we starting to take all these concepts and put them all together and put them to use to make our organizations quality organizations, producers of good quality products and services. Okay, with that, I'm going to leave you for this evening, and I'll talk to you later. Good night.